So along with this email, you've received drafts of your estate planning documents, and one of these documents is your Revocable Living Trust. So I wanted to take an opportunity and walk through this document with you. Later on in this estate planning process, we'll talk about practicalities and how you use this document. But for now, just want to confirm the terms and help you understand the structure of the document. When you first open this up, you're going to see Article 1. Article 1 is going to lay out the legal information of the trust, basically bringing your trust into existence. It explains who the grantor is, who the trustee is, and how you would take title to assets and set up beneficiary designations. A lot of technical information here. Feel free to ask your attorney questions at your review meeting, but we won't spend a lot of time with it here just because all it is setting up the legal structure. The next one you're going to come to is going to be Article 2. Article 2 is family information. Family information here, just take a moment and confirm that we've got everybody listed that you want to see listed. Here you're going to find information about your spouse and children, and it's going to lay out just some initial definitions. So if the document's referring to my husband or my wife, who is that referring to? Next, we're going to move into trustee succession. You're going to see two different trustee succession lists here. Oftentimes these mirror each other. You're going to see the incapacity trustees and the after you've passed away trustees. You can name different individuals here. So if you have somebody, if you're funding your trust during your lifetime and you have someone that you would want to serve as your trustee during incapacity, basically taking care of you, and that's different than the person you would want administering your trust after you've passed away, we can talk about that and make changes if you need to. After the trustee succession, you're going to see a little bit of language there about how you remove a trustee and just some legal requirements and the structure that we're putting forth to handle and deal with trustees. The next article you're going to come to is administration during your incapacity. So again, this article is really only going to apply if you funded your trust during your lifetime. Basically, this article says take care of me. The funds that you put in the trust, the assets you put in the trust should be available for your care. Article 4 makes that clear that your trustee can step in and basically take care of you, take care of your family if you have any dependents. Article 5 is going to lay out what happens after you've passed away. So basically what it says is everything that's been going on before during incapacity, that can end, and now we're moving into the remainder of the document, which is what wishes you have regarding your estate. After Article 5, Article 6 is where we're going to actually start looking at the dispositive terms of your estate plan. So sometimes it's going to be referred to as specific distributions in tangible personal property. Other times it may just be called tangible personal property. But here, if you're making monetary bequests to certain individuals or leaving certain property items to an intended recipient, this is where that information is going to be. Always like to touch on in this part, there's a word in there that's called ademption. There's a whole section on that. Ademption basically means that if you no longer have this property in your estate or in your trust, that bequest just goes away. All that means is your trustee doesn't have to make up for any gift that you've given. So if you said, I want to leave my 1969 Camaro to this individual, and that car is no longer in your estate, your trustee doesn't have to give that person a value equal to that car. So Article 6, laying out who's getting what when it comes to tangible personal property and some certain monetary bequest. Then Article 7, in most cases is going to deal with the residuary distribution. Here, this is where the bulk of your estate plan takes place. So if your primary beneficiary is your spouse, it's going to say everything to my spouse. If your primary beneficiary is your children, it's going to list that the assets in your estate are going to go to your children, and it's going to make sure that any trust terms you've talked about with the attorney in setting this up are included there. So if you've said, I don't want my children to be able to touch these assets until they're 30 years old, that should be reflected in there. There's also going to be discretionary language dealing with how your trustee handles these assets. So when can they make distributions? So confirming that, taking a look and making sure that lines up with what you discussed with the attorney. And if you have questions on that, of course, feel free to ask. So that's the standard revocable trust setup. If you have a spousal trust where assets are being held for a spouse in trust, These articles from here on may change numbers, but overall the residuary distribution is where the bulk of your estate planning takes place. After that, Article 8 often is your remote contingent distribution. This is that, hopefully it doesn't occur, scenario where everyone we've named in your estate plan has predeceased you and there are no children or grandchildren living at the time. This is where your estate would go in that case. So if it's a default kind of provision, it's just going to go to those individuals who would receive it under the laws of North Carolina. If you've discussed it in more detail with your attorney, it may be to certain individuals, it may be some charitable bequest, just confirming that that's something that you are in agreement with and it lines up with what you discussed with the attorney. From here on, it really just turns into powers. So administrative powers, general powers, and definitions are kind of the next articles in the trust. I encourage you to review these, take a look at them, ask questions of the attorney. We're happy to talk through any of those. Don't want to spend too much more of your time talking about them on this video. But if you have questions there, of course ask. Look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you.